From being a potential MVP contender to possibly sitting out the 2023 season, Kyler Murray seemingly doesn't have any good prospects in the 2023 fantasy football season.
Murray looks long. He's got a receiver. Moore with a blocker. Rondale Moore, rookie touchdown, Arizona.
Here's why you should avoid drafting him or trading for him. So remember when everybody was excited over Murray's mega contract extension? Well, fast forward to today and it looks like that deal might have backfired big time. You won't believe it, but there's a secret whistleblower from the Cardinals roster who's spilling some juicy details. This anonymous player spilled the beans to Bally Sports, and they're pointing their fingers directly at Kyler. Apparently, this mystery insider is saying that since Murray got that jaw-dropping $230 million contract extension, he's been a disappointment. They're even claiming he's ignoring his responsibilities as the franchise QB. Plus, he doesn't even bother studying his game plans. Can you believe that? Honestly, this revelation is like a total 180 from last year. Remember when the fans were mad over the team not forcing Kyle to study game plans? I mean, there was a whole independent study clause in his contract that got people heated, and it was eventually scrapped.
To think that I can accomplish everything that I've accomplished in my career and not be a student of the game, not have that passion and not take this serious is almost, it's disrespectful.
But now the insider is saying he's not studying it at all. Oh man, the irony. No wonder the Cardinals flopped big time in the 2022 season with a 4-13 record. Just the previous season, they were playoff contenders. Clearly, Murray didn't quite live up to the hype despite the franchise pouring big money on him. But guess what? The fans were quick to point their fingers at head coach Cliff Kingsbury and GM Steve Keim for the team's struggles, and they handed a free pass over to Kyler. Well, hold on a minute. I'm not just here to blame the play calling or the poor roster moves, because how on earth does a talent like Kyler Murray not step up his game, especially in his fourth season? Let's do a little comparison now, shall we? Take a look at Baker Mayfield, who had his fair share of coaching changes in his early NFL years, yet that guy managed to get a playoff win. Now, I'm not saying Baker's a superior quarterback, but it does make you scratch your head when you see Kyler, another Oklahoma hotshot, not living up to the hype. No matter how many popularity contests Kyler wins, the numbers don't lie. So through his first 10 starts in the 2022 season, his yards per attempt were just standing at 6-1. That is dead last in the league, according to the Pro Football Reference. And guess who he was compared with? None other than rookie Kenny Pickett from the Steelers. Imagine being in your fourth season and being compared to a rookie instead of your own peers. As if this wasn't enough, Baker Mayfield, Davis Mills, and Carson Wentz were all ahead of him at 6.5 and 6.4 yards. Besides this, Zach Wilson and Taylor Heinicke were in the mix as well. But that doesn't stop there. Let's talk about yards per completion. Kyler was literally last there as well, with 9.1 yards per completion and just 0.3 yards behind the next to the last name on the list, once again, Kenny Pickett. Okay, so what about net yards gained per pass attempt? I know that's a mouthful, but it is important. And Kyler was putting up 5.23 on this metric, and that put him at 33rd in the league. Yep, he was also at the bottom there as well, beating only one person, and you guessed it, Kenny Pickett. On the bright side, he wasn't too far behind the likes of Mayfield and Wentz. Now to wrap it all up, the player's passing rating of 87.1 and QBR of 51. Well, those aren't any shining numbers in the league either. In fact, these were career lows, especially that QBR, which is a whopping 6.3 points below his previous career low. Frankly speaking, his stats look even worse when you consider the talent that he had around. I'm talking about Zach Ertz, DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown, and Rondale Moore. These are some of the NFL's top receiving targets. Of course, you'd expect some exceptional numbers, right? Well, Kyler came up short. What's more, let's not forget the fact that he's a good runner. He's a dual-threat quarterback who can use those legs to scramble and extend plays. But in his last 24 starts, he's only racked up 838 rushing yards. Seriously, why is he running more often? That's another mystery to be solved. Overall, Kingsbury's play calling and game management can be blamed for some factors, but the cold, hard truth is that Kyler has played in this system for 4 seasons. And let's be real, he's been an absolute disappointment in the NFL in every department. Sure, he's just 26 years old and the fans are still willing to give him a free pass, but let's face it, these numbers are downright dreadful for a former first overall pick. Remember when he was an MVP contender back in 2020? Those were the days. But right now, it's safe to say that he's been nothing short of a letdown, especially when you consider his draft status. Now, People were hoping that the player would have a redemption arc in the 2023 season. But let me just say you can put those hopes aside for a minute because things are not looking good for the 2023 season as well. See, the thing is that Murray suffered a serious injury in Week 14 of the 2022 season as he ended up tearing his ACL. In fact, he had to undergo an ACL reconstruction surgery and a meniscus repair. Now, while most quarterbacks would be itching to get back in the field ASAP, it seems like Kyler's situation is a bit different. According to various media outlets, Kyler already has his finances secured due to that hefty contract extension. Obviously, that means he's not exactly feeling the pressure to rush back anytime soon. And this could brew some serious trouble for the team's new head coach, Jonathan Gannon. I mean, with such a long list of performance issues to tackle with, it's looking like the Cardinals might have a rocky road ahead in 2023. Still, the coach is assured that they are gearing up to give it their all and avoid disappointing their fans for a second year in a row. Here's the fingers being crossed. With that said, let's take a look at his 2023 fantasy football prospects. First things first, we need to address where the Cardinals themselves trust him as their franchise quarterback. I mean, the gossip within the franchise isn't exactly unanimous in his favor, and with a fresh coaching staff in town, it's all up in the air. As I've already discussed in detail, his performance in the 2022 season hasn't been quite impressive. Just 14 touchdowns, 2,368 passing yards, and only 3 rushing touchdowns. Those numbers wouldn't even cut it for your backup quarterback in fantasy, let alone a starter. Now, here's the deal. The Cardinals might be in full rebuild mode. With a real shot at having the first overall pick in the draft, sitting Murray down for the season would give them a better shot at landing a fresh talent, like Caleb Williams. So the right fantasy advice is to steer clear of Kyler Murray for your 2023 team. Seriously, just avoid drafting him and don't trade him either. After all, there are plenty of better options out there, even in the late rounds. His value as a runner might take a hit as he's coming off that knee injury, and the Cards aren't exactly contenders. You can find at least 20 better quarterbacks, including some under-the-radar gems. So save your draft pick for someone else and you'll probably find Murray sitting on waivers during the season. Even Jonathan hinted at that.
I know he's making strides, and again, I mean, he's a long way away, but we don't play for a long time either.
Honestly, you can't really blame the team here. They have to look at the big picture, and that is the 2024 draft. The franchise holds not 1 but 2 first-round picks in the 2024 NFL draft, their own and the Houston Texans. Now, most experts are predicting that both of these teams are in for a rocky start in 2023. If that holds true, the Cards could potentially have 2 top 5 selections in 2024. And here's where it gets juicy. With those picks, they got some options. They could either do a quick retool with Kyler, hoping that he's in perfect shape, or they might decide to make a bold move and trade him to start fresh with a rookie quarterback. Either way, it's clear that Kyler Murray needs to be 100% healthy heading into 2024 for these plans to pan out. You see, everything comes down to his recovery and the Cardinals' outlook for the 2023 season. Brace yourself because there's some speculation going on. Now here's the thing. It's hard to believe that a brand new management team with a fresh head coach and a general manager wouldn't want to see what Kyler Murray can bring to the table. I mean, the guy's got a ceiling that's through the roof. Sure, there are some questions about his leadership and his ability to rally the squad, but let's not forget, he's been the spark that kept the Cardinals in the game. Plus, he's been a top 12 fantasy quarterback every single year of his career. So it's safe to say the Cardinals are still itching to see if Kyler is still the man they want to rebuild their future around. They'll probably do everything in their power to get him back on the field in 2023. Well, if that's not in the cards, they're not in a bad spot either with the draft picks. There you have it. That was all you need to know about avoiding Kyler Murray in your fantasy draft.